thousands of veterans miss out on benefits they're actually eligible for, and many don't even realize it. Have you ever wondered if you're leaving money or healthcare benefits on the table? One small mistake in your VA claim could delay your benefits for months.
Yeah, and honestly, sometimes it's not even a mistake you made. Sometimes it just comes down to this bizarre administrative category like the exact decade you were born.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Veterans Briefing. I mean, it sounds almost absurd, right? But today, we are looking at an urgent update regarding the August 2026 VA benefits changes.
Right, because the VA has essentially restructured benefits eligibility based on specific birth decades. So what we're going to do is break down these new rules so that you or the veterans in your life aren't leaving money or essential care on the table.
Exactly. We're going to cover veterans born in the 1940s, the 50s, and the 60s. And even if we cover your decade first, stick around because at the end, we're exposing a massive blind spot that spans all three decades equally.
Yeah, you really don't want to miss that part. It's arguably the single most underclaimed benefit in the entire system. And if you don't actively raise your hand for it, you get absolutely nothing.
Wow. Okay, well, let's jump right in. Let's start with the most time-sensitive group, which is veterans born in the 1940s. So in 2026, these folks are between 76 and 85 years old.
Right. And from a medical standpoint, this group obviously has the highest percentage of veterans dealing with long-term progressing service-connected conditions.
Yeah.
They're at that stage where independent living often transitions into assisted care.
Which brings us to the first critical update for the 40s group, which is the aid and attendance pension.
Or A&A, as it's usually called.
Right, A and A. There's a brand new August 2026 update to the net worth limit for this. But before we hit the numbers, what exactly is aid and attendance?
So aid and attendance isn't just a standard disability check. It's an enhanced VA pension, specifically for veterans, or their surviving spouses actually, who need regular physical help with daily living.
Like bathing and preparing meals.
It's exactly. Bathing, dressing, managing complex medications, or just moving safely around the house. It's meant to keep veterans out of state-run facilities so they can actually afford in-home care.
And it pays pretty well, right? I think the compensation can be up to around $2,800 a month.
Roughly, yeah. Almost $34,000 a year, tax-free. But the barrier to entry has always been this really strict financial threshold.
The net worth limit.
Right. For years, inflation and rising home values created this huge group of veterans who were basically house rich but cash poor. They kept getting denied. But in August 2026, that asset threshold was raised to $159,240.
That's a very specific number. But the wild part is what that $159,000 actually excludes.
That is the absolute key here. That limit does not include your primary residence. It doesn't matter what the market value of your house is. It also excludes one vehicle and standard personal property.
Oh, wow. So they're mostly just looking at your savings and investments.
Exactly. So let's say you have an 82-year-old veteran who applied back in 2023. They had $140,000 in a retirement account, plus their home. Under the old rules, they got denied.
And they probably just threw the denial letter in a drawer and gave up.
Which is exactly why we're talking about this. Because under the new 2026 limit, that same veteran now qualifies. But, and this is crucial, the VA does not actively audit old denials.
Right. They aren't going to call you up and say the rules changed.
Not at all. The system doesn't care. You have to force them to look at you again. You must reapply using VA form 21P534EZ.
21P534EZ.
Got it. And you mentioned surviving spouses earlier, which leads into the second big issue for the 1940s group. This is about Dependency and Indemnity Compensation, or DIC.
Yeah, DIC. This is a survivor benefit that pays just over $1,600 a month to the surviving spouse of a veteran who passed away from a service-connected condition, or if they were totally disabled for at least 10 years before they died. But the bureaucracy here is just so frustrating. There's this hidden expiration date. If a widow or widower delays applying beyond 1 year after the veteran's death, they permanently lose their retroactive pay.
It's harsh. It really is.
I have to push back on that. Why does the VA make a grieving spouse jump through administrative hoops during the worst year of their life? Why isn't it automatic when the death certificate is registered?
I completely agree with the frustration. It highlights the difference between human empathy and statutory law. The VA operates on legal triggers, not empathy, unfortunately.
So the application itself is the trigger.
Right. That 1 year window is just a statutory grace period. If you file within that first year, they backdate the pay to the date of death. But the exact moment you hit day 366, that grace period vanishes.
Meaning if you don't ask for it in time, the system just assumes you don't need it.
Exactly. And if a spouse waits, say, 13 months to file, they still get the monthly benefit moving forward, but they permanently lose that first year of back pay. That's a $19,000 mistake.
Unbelievable. That's money meant for hero costs and transition expenses. So if you're a veteran from the 1940s listening to this, you have to talk to your spouse today. Make sure they know where your DD-214 is, your VA award letter, and keep a blank copy of Form 21P 534EZ with your will.
Yeah, preparation is really your only defense against a rigid system like this.
Okay, let's transition to the next decade.
Mm-hmm.
While the older veterans are fighting for immediate care, veterans born in the 1950s, so ages 66 to 75, they're walking into a completely different trap.
Right. The 50s group is facing this massive collision of multiple federal systems. They're old enough for Social Security and Medicare, but they're still actively managing their VA disability claims.
They've got one foot in the VA and one foot in civilian retirement. So let's talk about the August 2026 mandate regarding Medicare and VA healthcare. What is going on there?
So, under the new guidance, VA facilities are now legally mandated to bill Medicare as the primary payer for any non-service-connected care.
Great, why? If I earn VA healthcare, why are they pushing the bill to Medicare?
Well, it's about federal cost shifting. The VA has to provide free care for your service-connected issues. But for things totally unrelated to your service, like, say you slip on ice and break your arm, the VA is allowed to bill Medicare to stretch their own budget.
I see. It's almost like two different banks trying to process the exact same check, but using different software.
That's a perfect metaphor. And if the account details don't match up perfectly, the transaction fails.
So what's the actual tripwire for the veteran?
If your Medicare Part B information is not perfectly current and correctly formatted in the VA's billing system, the VA software tries to ping Medicare, gets a rejection code, and then it automatically bypasses Medicare entirely.
And bills you directly.
Exactly. It sends the bill to your personal copay account. You could get a massive bill for an ER visit that Medicare absolutely would have covered, just because the VA had a slightly outdated Medicare ID for you.
That is infuriating. So what should veterans born in the 50s do to defend against this?
You need to call your local VA Medical Center's billing department. Verbally confirm your Medicare Part B info is current. Ask them explicitly, is Medicare listed as the primary payer for my non-service connected care?
Just a simple 5-minute phone call?
Yep. Fix it on the spot and ask them to manually review any balances you accrued in 2026.
That could literally save you thousands of dollars. And, if you're finding these discussions helpful, please subscribe to Veterans Briefing so you never miss important updates and practical information for veterans and their families.
It's so important to stay informed because the maze just gets more complicated. Let's look at the second collision for the 1950s group, the interaction between TDIU and Social Security.
Okay, TDIU, that's total disability based on individual unemployability, meaning you might not have a mathematically 100% rating, but because you can't hold a steady job, the VA pays you at the 100% rate anyway.
Exactly. But on August 3rd, 2026, a new automated eligibility review kicked in for veterans getting both TDIU and Social Security retirement.
It's an algorithm causing chaos again, isn't it?
It really is. It's a massive false alarm. The algorithm sees your combined income from the VA and Social Security, notices it's above the poverty line, and assumes you must be secretly working.
But Social Security retirement isn't income from a current job. It's a deferred benefit from credits you earned decades ago.
Right. Drawing your earned pension does not mean you're suddenly employable. But the automated system has zero nuance. It just flags your file for potential fraud or overpayment.
So what happens? Do they just cut you off?
They send you a formal letter questioning your TDIU status. And this is where veterans make a huge mistake. They assume the VA will figure out their own error, so they ignore the letter.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In a bureaucracy, ignoring a letter is treated as an admission of guilt. If you don't respond, they suspend your TDIU payments.
So you could lose thousands of dollars a month just because you didn't reply to a piece of mail?
Exactly. If you get that letter, do not panic, but do not ignore it. Respond in writing immediately. State clearly that the income is from past Social Security credits, not current employment. That forces a human being to review your file and override the algorithm.
Okay, so the 40s is immediate care, the 50s is avoiding these automated tracks. Let's move to our youngest demographic today. Veterans born in the 1960s, so ages 56 to 65.
The defining characteristic for this group is their time horizon. A veteran born in 1965 who gets a rating increase today could be looking at 30 or more years of compensation.
That's a massive financial difference over time.
Huge. And the biggest opportunity for them right now involves the PACT Act,
Which passed in 2022 to expand care for toxic exposures, like burn pits. Why is this mostly a 1960s issue?
because the 1960s group makes up the core of the forces deployed during the Gulf War, Somalia, and early post-Cold War operations. For decades, they suffered from strange respiratory issues and rare cancers.
And before 2022, they had to somehow definitively prove that a specific cloud of smoke in 1991 caused their specific cancer.
Which is almost scientifically impossible. So the VA systematically denied them. But the PCT Act changed the law. It made those conditions presumptive.
Meaning the VA legally presumes the military caused it?
Right. But here's the urgent part. The supplemental claim window. If you were denied back in the day and you reapply now under the PCT Act, the VA doesn't just start paying you from today.
They backdate it, right. It's like a financial time machine.
Exactly. Let's say a veteran born in 1965 filed a claim for chronic asthma in 2010. They got denied. They hear this episode today and file a supplemental claim using Form 200995.
And it gets approved because it's presumptive now.
Right. But the law requires the VA to backdate the compensation all the way to that original 2010 denial. That's 16 years of back pay.
Wow. Wait, let's do the math on that. If they get a 60% rating, which is roughly $1,400 a month over 16 years.
That's 192 months. That veteran receives a single tax-free lump sum of over $268,000.
Over $250,000. That is incredible.
And it's not hypothetical. That is the actual statutory math. So if you were denied before 2022, do not wait. Submit Form 200995.
But let me ask you this. What if my condition isn't toxic exposure? Like, say my back has just been getting worse from jumping out of planes in the 80s. If I file for an increase today, does that go back 5 years?
No, and that's a trap a lot of veterans fall into. For a standard rating increase, there is no time machine. The clock only starts the day you formally initiate the claim. Every month you wait is money you lose forever.
But billing a claim takes time. You need x-rays, doctor's notes.
Which is why you use the intent to file. You don't need your evidence today. You literally just call the VA at 1-800-827-1000 and say, I intend to file a claim.
You're essentially calling dibs on the timeline.
Exactly. It locks in today's date for your back pay and gives you exactly 1 year to gather all your paperwork. Stop waiting until your medical records are perfect. Call and lock it in.
That is fantastic advice. All right, we've navigated the 40s, 50s, and 60s, but you promised us one massive blind spot at the beginning of the show that affects everyone.
Yes. The single most underclaimed benefit in the entire disability system, special monthly compensation, or SMC.
Walk us through this. How is SMC different from a regular disability rating?
Standard ratings max out at 100%, but SMC provides extra monthly payments on top of your standard compensation. It's for veterans who have suffered severe functional losses, like losing the use of a hand or foot, or who require daily nursing assistance.
And it pays significantly more.
Oh, much more. It ranges from a few hundred extra dollars a month for being housebound, all the way up to an additional $9,400 a month for total nursing care.
Okay, wait, I have a massive issue with this. If a veteran needs nursing care or has a limb amputated, the VA already knows. Often, it's a VA surgeon doing the amputation. How is this underclaimed?
Because you're assuming the VA acts as one unified body. They don't. The Veterans Health Administration, the doctors, do not proactively communicate with the Veterans Benefits Administration, the people writing the checks.
Are you serious? A VA doctor notes that you lost the use of your arm and the benefits side doesn't automatically turn on the SMC payments.
They do not. The system only answers the questions you specifically ask it. No one is cross-referencing your medical file to see if you qualify for SMC as you get older. You could be missing out on thousands a month because nobody connects the dots for you.
So how do you force them to connect the dots?
You have to submit a formal written request to your regional office. And you can't just say, my legs are worse. You have to explicitly write, I am requesting evaluation for special monthly compensation under Title 38 CFR 3.350.
Title 38 CFR 3.350. You literally have to quote the federal code.
You do. You have to trigger the law. And if that feels overwhelming, call the DAV or your local county veteran service officer. They can help you do this for free.
This has been a deeply technical but incredibly necessary conversation. Let's recap the top 3 takeaways. Number 1, 1940s group, reapply for aid and attendance using Form 21P 534EZ under the new $159,240 limit.
Number 2, 1950s group, update your Medicare Part B with the VA billing department and immediately respond in writing to any letters questioning your TDIU status.
And number 3, 1960s group, file those PACT Act supplemental claims for that back pay and lock in your intent to file dates today.
And the one practical action for everyone, regardless of age. If your conditions have worsened, submit a written request for SMC under Title 38 CFR 3.350. Don't assume the VA is tracking your decline.
Please, we'd love to hear your experiences or questions in the comments below, so definitely chime in and share this video with any veteran you know.
I just want to leave you with a final thought. We often think our lives are defined entirely by the choices we make. But when you look at these systems, you realize how profoundly our lives are shaped by rigid, invisible, bureaucratic categories. Something as random as the year you were born is dictating your financial security. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible administrative lines are limiting your options right now without you even knowing it?
That is exactly why we do this. Thank you for watching Veterans Briefing. Take care, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next episode.